It stinks.
I hated this movie. I hated this movie. I hated this movie.
It really doesn't
I
get much better than
hated
this.
this movie. I hated this movie.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Viewer Digression Podcast, the podcast where each and every week we decide if the critics and fans got it right. This week, it's resurrected superheroes, shirtless fishmen, and slow motion super speed. That's right, it's the 2017 film Justice League, originally directed by Zack Snyder, but taken over by Joss Whedon. Jake, how are you feeling about this week's topic?
Bad, dude. Bad. This is crazy. I'm all over the place. This is the truly, like, you know what? Winx definitely surprised me, but this was a different kind of surprise. This was I feel like I learned a lot this week about movies, about this movie, about all sorts of stuff. So
Okay.
I'm
But before
excited
we get into
yeah.
that, do you know the best and my favorite way to start a podcast?
Wait, what's your favorite way to start a podcast?
This is the section of the podcast where we start with a jolly update. It's your own invention, but here, I'm the intro guy this week, so I'm taking it over. It's the section of the podcast where we say something in the past week, or in this case, the past 3 days, that we experienced that was jolly, usually something media related, but not always. Yeah. And, just good vibes, start things off nice, especially when we're about to really, rag on a movie. So, Jake, this week you get to start us off. What's your jolly update, man?
Okay, my jolly update is hot dogs.
Ooh.
All right. So I know this is a little unconventional, but for I haven't been like watching a lot of other stuff. I haven't been, I've just been living my life. And I think like unexpectedly I had hot dogs the other night. My girlfriend and I both had a craving for hot dogs, and we said, okay, we're gonna get some. And it's like, I just think, I'm not like a huge fan of cheeseburgers, to be totally honest with you. But
Interesting.
But I feel like cheeseburgers, it's like a lot of bread. It's a lot of like that patty. It's like a little too bland. I don't know. But the thing about the hot dog is that to me, the hot dog like almost lives and dies by the toppings. So that's one thing. But
this is true.
Yeah, but then the other thing is that like the variation among hot dogs is incredible. And it is like a scientific experiment going down every single time I get my hands on a hot dog. So and that's kind of jolly, you know what I mean? Like I'm literally going into it being like, how is this gonna shake out today? And I just enjoy that. I enjoy those vibes.
Are you a ketchup on hot dogs guy or a mustard on hot dogs guy?
Okay, so I think between the two, I'm picking ketchup. But honestly, my favorite thing to put on a hot dog, chili.
Ooh, chili dog vibes.
Dude,
I like that.
I love chili dogs. Yeah.
No, I respect that. I like to get some relish on my dogs. Some relish and some onions.
I respect that. Do you know who else loves chili dogs?
Who?
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Ah, this is facts. I can't believe I forgot that.
Yeah. Sonic loves chili dogs.
Oh man, love that.
Jeez.
Love that.
Well, what's your jolly update?
All right, so in the past 3 days, I started and finished season 1 of the Japanese anime Attack on Titan.
I saw you tweeting about this,
bro. I've been going crazy about this show. Shout out to friend of the show, Sam Dilling. She's the one who was like, "You need to watch this." I was like, "All right, bet." I checked it out.
Shout out.
We'll give you the shout out on Twitter too.
Ooh.
And in fact, for anyone else who wants to suggest more shows for me to watch for the jolly update, I'll probably do that.
Wait, me too. I need some jolly updates. Yeah, or just like things to eat, I guess.
Yeah, that too. But Attack on Titan is this anime, right? Where it's set in the year 850, right? So they have cannons, they have like muskets, but they don't have too much technology. And it's essentially one day, 100 years before the show starts, these creatures called Titans, who are basically humanoid-looking creatures who are between 30 and 150 feet tall, magically appeared on Earth and started eating people. And they ate so many people that most of humanity had to retreat into one single land area, build a bunch of like 200 feet 200-foot tall walls to keep the monsters out, the Titans, and that's basically it. Like every now and then they send out people to try and kill some of the Titans, but they're basically invincible. They only have one weak spot, which is the area. This is a spoiler, but not a slight spoiler for the show. They have one weak spot on the area behind on their neck, back of their neck, and that's it. If you can slice the back of their neck, you can kill them. But if you can't, like, you can blow their heads off, they'll just regenerate. You can do whatever else.
Question.
You gotta have a question, yes.
Wait, okay, so they're not just killing people, they're specifically eating them.
Yes. In fact, that's the only way that they'll kill you, is they will eat you, like munch you to death. But also they have no digestive tract. Like they actually don't, like, they only require sunlight to live. They're just evil creatures who like to eat people as their sport, because after a few hours, they'll throw you back up, your dead body. It's a very bloody show. It's very disturbing, but it is amazing. Like I'm sitting there, like the people. There's a lot of character deaths in this show. If anyone else ever tells you about it, they'll be like, "Don't get too attached," because some of your favorites are gonna die, and it's true. It's very bloody, but it's very great. The dialogue is amazing, and it has a lot of commentary upon like the nature of war and the nature of making sacrifices for war, and whether there can be just wars. So it's very interesting.
Ooh. Is it okay? Well, is Attack on Titan woke or is it sleep? Is it sleeping?
The characters in the show, most of them are asleep.
Okay.
But the narrative of the show is telling you these characters are not as smart as they should be. Like the writers of the show are like, no, the decisions that the characters are making are morally bad. And you should feel disturbed that they're willing to sacrifice maybe the whole planet and all of humanity to achieve this one goal, when really they could maybe go about it a better way. So the show is woke, but the characters, most of them are asleep, but not all of them. A few of them are smart.
Okay, I'll allow it. This is interesting. I'm always out here willing to give the anime a shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm always willing to give it a shot. Sometimes it backfires though. I tried to watch Will, that Death Note. You ever try to watch that?
Oh, yeah. Death Note's not bad.
No. Death Note is cursed by having a premise that is better than any story you could ever come up for the premise. So, like, literally episode 1, I'm just like, yeah. All right. And then episode 6, I'm just like, nah, I've seen it. It's cool. And, you know, my real hot take is that stupid Netflix movie they did wasn't that bad.
Oh my goodness! I've never seen the Netflix movie,
that bad?
So I can't comment on this. But people are gonna get at us in the DMs over this.
Now, to transition into talking about a movie that is bad.
Yes.
Topic of the show, Justice. So we're talking about Justice League today. I think like, you know, it's funny going into this discussion. Well, I don't have a lot to say, and I think the majority of the things I want to talk about is that like watching this movie, to me, it like backed up everything I've been saying on this pod for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And it was a shocking experience to go from Man of Steel to Batman v Superman straight into Justice League, because holy cow, it's like you can tell it's not Snyder.
Yeah. I agree. I was trying to sit here with my little notepad and take notes during this movie. I didn't get any notes. I was like, nothing of consequences happened. Does this movie even have a point? Like, well, this movie is it about anything?
No. I'm so glad we talked about this last week when I was talking about Ready Player One, because this movie is you could discard this movie. It literally carries nothing. Man, and I think what's really crazy about this is, you know, we like to talk about it. Did the audiences and critics get it right? And I remember when this movie came out, it was like, oh man, let me paint a picture for the friends and fans. Okay, so I Jake Steinberg, local psychopath, love Man of Steel, and I love Batman v Superman. And I hear before Justice League comes out all these rumors about, you know, it's gonna be a lighter movie, it's gonna be, you know, brighter colors, it's gonna be all this, and it's
gonna be like the Avengers.
And Jake and little local psycho Jakey boy is getting a little nervous. Because I really like these other movies, and I remember I went to go see Justice League, and I didn't have as big of a problem with it as I do now, but I was definitely a little heartbroken, because I was like, oh man, they gave me my chance and it wasn't good enough. The people rejected what I liked and said, we want this. And well, if you remember, I feel like when Justice League came out, the reception to it was like relatively good, and most people were willing to say it was like a step in the right direction.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I was low key one of those people. I was like, this
Mhm.
is a forgettable movie. It's not that good, but I mean, based on my hatred at the time for Batman v
Yeah.
Superman, I was like, you know what? They could just end it now and they can start it all over. And I was satisfied enough. That's what happens with polarizing sequels to polarizing movies. It's like, it's, you know, as long as you just give us a little something that's palatable, we'll probably be on board, which is unfortunate.
You know what's crazy though, Will? I feel like the when people talk about the problems that this movie has, I actually don't agree with them. I think that honestly, I feel like the most cited. Oh, by the way, we need to start a count. All right, we need to catch me whenever I say I gotta tell you. Because I was listening back to some of the last.
Do you say that a lot?
Oh well. Oh my god, it's outrageous. It's really. I feel so bad for our listeners because I gotta tell. You know, it's really really bad. So I'm actively trying not to say I gotta tell you, and I'm only saying it because it's true. And I got, but that aside, I feel like people love to say, the problem with Justice League is that they rushed it and they needed to give every character their own movie and we needed to slowly build up and do it like the Avengers. And I reject this because one, I think that like us falling into this train of thought where it's like, the only way to do a good superhero movie is to do it like the Marvel people do it is just a flaw. Because the fact of the matter is that this movie isn't bad because it's overstuffed with characters. It's bad because it's a bad movie. And if it were a good movie, I wouldn't care that it had too many characters in it. I wouldn't. And honestly, when I'm watching the movie, my big concerns with it, and maybe I'm crazy, I'm not sitting there going, who are these people? Why are they there? Wait, I want to spend more time with XY. Like, I'm actually not doing any of those things. My problem with this movie is legitimately that it is not about anything. It is simply reacting to stuff that is going on. And like, oh man, there was a point in this movie though where I caught a glimpse of what I think it was supposed to be about, and my heart like shuddered.
What was that moment? What was that moment?
It's legitimately an hour into the movie.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. and I think like it's a pretty pivotal confrontation scene. So even with like that contains the whole cast. So even if you're doing reshoots, it's kind of hard to like get around this being there. Yeah. And it is when we've done kind of like our first big confrontation under Gotham with Steppenwolf.
Oh yeah.
And they're kind of all back in the Batcave, and Wonder Woman and Bruce are kind of like going at it with each other. And at one point, and it's when Batman first suggests bringing Clark back to life. And Wonder Woman accuses him of like having grief about this, about feeling responsible for Superman's death. And for a second there, it glimmered in front of me. I was like, oh my God, that's what this movie was supposed to be about. It was supposed to be about feeling guilty about Superman's death, and now he died, so that, you know, look around, his monument is all around, so that we could be better, and now we're not better. We're letting him down in death. We're failing him. And what's crazy is that, but we talked about this a little bit. I don't think we talked about it on the show, but there was a rumor a few weeks ago, and I read it, and it sounded insane. And the rumor was that originally Zack Snyder wanted Bruce Wayne and Lois Lane to have a romance in Justice League. And I thought that this was insane. I thought this was stupid, and it literally took the wind out of the Snyder Cut sails. I was like, no, he's back to being a moron. No, I don't want to watch this movie. And now going into this movie, I'm like, wait a second, it's still in there. So time has been removed from Superman being dead. We open on Bruce and Lois maybe do have this relationship, do have this romance together, and now it's another layer of why he feels guilty about Clark being dead. And it charges the moment of we're bringing Clark back, and we have to bring Lois onto the scene and rekindle that spark between them. It makes it like he's really giving something up there.
Okay.
So you know what I'm saying?
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Like there's stuff in this movie where I'm like, oh my God, at some point this movie was about something. Yeah. And now it's about nothing. And,
you know what that makes me think of? You remember what the first scene of this movie was?
Oh, I do. It's Superman talking to the kids for their podcast.
Yes.
And Will, I hate to admit it, I like that scene.
That scene, when they shot it, they knew what the movie was about.
Oh shit!
You know, the movie, like, that scene makes me feel bad. Like, damn, Superman's dead.
Yeah.
And then, like, you just don't cover that again until like the scene that you mentioned came up.
Yeah.
And it should have been way more. Honestly, Superman has to save people. Like, that's his thing. Like, he's not so much of a guy who's like, I have to stop the bad guys, as much as like, I have to save people and inspire them, as we discussed before. They don't really do much. They don't attempt to really inspire any of the regular people in this movie. They don't really attempt to save that many people, except for that one scene under Gotham Harbor. We should have gotten more scenes of them attempting to do these things and failing and being like, damn, we need Superman. I mean, the only reason they bring him back in this movie is because it's like, well, none of us can really, you know, go toe-to-toe with Steppenwolf. So that's why we need Stoops back, because we need him to punch guys. Like, and then I think they do a good job in the end of being like, well, he cares about saving civilians or whatnot. But like, that's not the reason they bring him back. They bring him back because it's like, we just keep getting smoked by Steppenwolf, so we need help. Well, and I'm like, that's the wrong reason to be bringing him back.
You are 100% right. It is legitimately stupid that this movie doesn't have Batman, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, Flash, Aquaman, all in their separate corners of the world, trying to be heroes and being not quite good enough.
Yeah.
There is no reason that is not in this movie.
None at all. We don't even see the Flash be heroic before he joins the team.
The only thing we ever see of the Flash is the clip from Batman v Superman of him like stopping a gas station robbery. Yeah. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. No, they don't. They just don't care.
Yeah.
Batman, dude. Batman's first scene. We're in Gotham. Gotham looks good. Batman looks good. But you know what to me is the important thing about this scene? We've gotten through violent, crazy Batman v Superman Batman, and everything Batman does in this opening introduction for him is like the Batman you recognize.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, he's tying people up, he's trying to freak them out, but he's not being scary and gross like he was before. And I'm like, oh, look at that. They did the thing. They did the thing where he's not that better now. He's not that person anymore. He's gone back. Yeah. So I appreciate that. I got to tell you, this is son of a. I
said it again.
But
it's your crutch phrase, bro.
It is. The biggest thing that this movie like freaked me out about was that cinematography is like hard. And I had somebody tell me once that like the true art of filmmaking is in the editing room. And this movie is like such a good showcase for that, because I swear to God that these scenes are edited poorly. The cuts from like the one that really got under my skin and made me feel gross. Okay, there were two. Was one, it's Aquaman after he talks to Bruce for the first time and he's like in the ocean and he's hanging out with him. There's like a wide shot of him like waist deep in the ocean looking at Bruce, and for no reason it cuts from a wide shot of him to kind of like a 3/4 shot of him diving backwards, and it's literally the most unnatural thing you've ever seen in your life. It's so obviously a reshoot, it made me want to throw up. And then the other one is when we're all on like the bat plane together going to fight Steppenwolf for the last time. And you can very clearly see that Gal Gadot was not available for reshoots, because there is a stand-in who turns her face perfectly down into the side, so you only see hair and you can't see her face for the entirety of the wide shot. It is so stupid.
Oh God.
And this whole movie is like littered with problems like that. And watching it this time, coming from Zack Snyder, who I think you have to give credit for constantly giving you interesting looking things to just kind of for the camera to focus on, to go to this movie that is just the directorial eye just like isn't there. Nobody cares. It's not. They're not trying to tell you anything with the way that the movie is made, and it makes it so boring. Oh my God, I hated it, dude. It's really. I hope someone out there, some listener of the Viewer Digression podcast, is with us watching these movies and like and gets it, because this shocked me coming to this movie.
Nah, it's pretty bad. I mean, you are correct in your assessment about editing in general.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't believe us, just go and watch the trailer for it's an A24 movie called It Comes at Night, and then go watch the movie, because the trailer house edited that trailer to make it look like a very different movie as compared to what the actual film is when you watch it. And that's because there was a director and an editor editing the film, and there were people who are like, marketing people who are like, we need to edit the trailer.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want with a lot of different shots, and you can make 50 different movies depending on how you edit it. So that's definitely true. No, Joss Whedon, I'm sorry. I gotta say this. Like, obviously, number one, he's got all this shit about him in the news. Retweet on all of that, because he sounds like a piece of garbage.
Yeah,
he sounds like a piece of garbage. I'm glad everybody's coming out, and I'm glad they feel safe enough to come out. I hope, if he's done more things to more people, I hope they come out and say what he's done as well. Even that, laying it aside, this man has failed up his entire career. He has so many failures. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, very, very popular. I have nothing against Buffy, but he failed. He made Firefly, failure. Serenity, failure. Everything he did from like 2006 until 2012 in the Avengers, failure. Mm-hmm. The Avengers is good, but it's an overrated film. Like, it's a really good film, but it's a little overrated. Like, but I'm not gonna dump on the Avengers. Age of Ultron, trash. And then Marvel fired him because they were like, we can't deal with your garbage anymore. All he does is fail up. And so, and also this movie, trash. So, gosh.
The crazy thing about this too is that now, so we get to watch this movie knowing a recut of this movie is coming. And that completely changes the context I watch this movie in. Because one, all of a sudden I'm like, for the first time, really, I'm like, oh my God, a Snyder Cut is justified.
Necessary.
I get it. Like, this is not a Snyder movie. It's honestly like wild how much I missed some of his kind of like directorial trademarks, especially in like the fight scenes, which definitely were downgraded in this movie.
Yeah, they honestly, I was gonna say, in that first Batman scene, like, the action's like not that good.
No, it's boring. It's boring. It's not shot in an interesting way. I think anytime the parademons show up in this movie, it's like Spy Kids 3D level cringe.
Yeah,
they're oh my God. When they show up to fight the Amazons, which is like a decent fight scene. I actually like that scene where they're like playing keep away with the box. I enjoy that.
Yeah.
But there is a shot that when like the parademons show up in the Amazon like temple thing, and one parademon literally comes into like the middle of the frame, and he swims around here, and then he goes off. That was a great visual what I just did on the camera. That was it's literally exactly what he does. And I couldn't, every single time I see that shot, I go, Spy Kids 3D. Look, and then every single
it's a parademon.
So stupid.
Oh my gosh. I just don't. Yeah. I don't know. I don't understand why was Joss hired to do this movie, other than the fact that he was the Avengers guy. Like, did he actually have a vision for what this film should accomplish? It doesn't seem like he did. Like, they could have hired any number of other people. They should have hired one of the first ADs who was on Batman v Superman or Man of Steel to direct it, honestly.
So, okay, let's dig into this. So let's like dig in and really talk about the failures of this movie. So, So I think so we both kind of agreed that we enjoy the Superman cell phone footage scene. Yeah. Oh, I totally forgot the controversy about the mustache.
Oh God. I'm sorry. That is horrendous.
Do you notice it?
I notice it.
Okay,
sure.
I am famously CGI blind. It takes a lot for me to like say, oh, that CGI is like ugly or whatever. And genuinely, if this controversy never came up, I don't think I ever would have. Henry Cavill's already got kind of like mangled teeth because he's British. And I literally am just looking at his mouth and I'm like, I don't know. I don't.
The weirdest moment where like it pops up for me is when he's standing in the field with Lois after he's resurrected. I'm like, gosh, this looks weird.
Those scenes are so offensively bad. We'll get to it.
And then the other moment is when
Superman got done dirty in this movie.
I don't want, like, literally.
Every line.
It's supposed to be. Yeah. Good God.
Everything he said. So okay. So we enjoyed the Superman cell phone footage. I really like him. Like just there's something a little magical about Superman talking to kids.
Oh yeah, no, I would agree.
Yeah,
I would agree.
I wish
that's beautiful right there.
Yeah,
if Joss came up with that, that's probably the only piece of credit I'll ever give Joss.
Right. No, I completely agree. I'm going to be heartbroken when this isn't in the Snyder Cut. When they ask him what's your favorite thing about Earth and they cut it before he can answer.
Now that's beautiful.
I literally I think it might be the best part of the movie. Like
it is. That is the best part of the film.
It's just downhill from there.
That moment is so good. I'm like, how could you so profoundly misunderstand the character in every moment after this?
Yeah, that's the truth. So we've got our silly Batman rooftop scene. Oh, another thing that looks like garbage. When Batman is being carried through the sky by the parademon, and it's just like a close up on his face. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's so stupid. Yeah. It's so stupid looking. Will, it's like embarrassing. Whatever the budget was on this movie, I can't believe this made it to the final cut. I could have shot this.
Honestly, I could have shot a lot of the scenes in this film.
Do you like the montage of Superman being dead with the song, the Everybody Knows? I
like it less and less every time it comes up.
Yeah, I hear you. I think it goes on a little too long. I like the vibe.
I like the song though.
I like the song. I do. I like the
song. Is so good.
The song is good. Yeah, I don't even get what it's like trying to say, but I like it.
The weird thing about it is though that there's no way that's a Joss scene. That's a Zack Snyder scene.
No, you can tell by the way it's shot. You can tell.
Yeah.
It's got that aggressive slow-mo with the oranges or whatever the hell it is.
Honestly, to the point where I attributed that moment to the funeral sequence in Batman v Superman. I didn't even think that was a part of this film. Even though I just watched it 2 days ago.
my one theory about what the song is supposed to be referencing for the movie is that they kind of touch on this a little bit. They touch on it more in Batman v Superman, but there is this little Superman is dead and everyone knows. A bell has been rung, I think, like Lex says.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah. and I wish that was in the movie more. There's so much. This movie's not about anything. We'll just. That's
why I think Lex had to come back, man.
Yeah.
I don't care about Steppenwolf. Lex, he should have been carried through a little bit more, or you should have just. I mean, I guess Darkseid is in the Snyder Cut, so. But Steppenwolf is just not sufficient as a main villain.
Well, see, we got to give. We'll see. I have some theories about how the Snyder Cut is going to fix this. We'll get. I've got some.
Well,
theories.
I mean, he's not sufficient currently.
Yes,
there are ways you can make him sufficient. He's just not sufficient in this film.
Not only is he not sufficient, he is flaccid. He is. It's so bad. Okay, so the next thing we get is Wonder Woman saving the bank, which
is a cool scene.
Which is sick.
Yeah, that's a cool scene.
When she slides.
Oh yeah, she's
so good,
saving the kids from the people from the bullets. Yeah. Now, that's a great scene. It's also banking off of the Wonder Woman movie, which I think came out in the same year, which is wild.
Yeah, right before this. Yeah,
which was, I mean, as you should. I mean, it's a good movie there. So if you're gonna have Wonder Woman in there, you might as well bank off of that. I like that scene a lot.
Me too. I wish something more bad happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish it was an L, something,
right.
Yeah. So because of what we were talking about earlier.
True.
The next big scene we get is my first big. I am disgusted by this movie, and it is.
Before you say that,
please.
I just wanted to add on to my agreement in that. Yeah, the fact that she effortlessly saves everyone in the bank, it's well, then why haven't you been doing this for 100 years? I understand you were sad about Steve, but for 100 years, are you serious? My God.
No.
Have you seen the things that have been happening? You could have been effortlessly saving people for a long time, Diana.
It's a real shame because I feel like now people will criticize the whole that 100 years thing. It wasn't even true. Blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, but it was actually a good idea, and you all trampled on sweet Zach, and we had to give it up. So I wish they stuck to their guns with that a little.
You know what
more.
Should have happened is she should have thrown the briefcase bomb into the air. And it not because they said it was going to take out 4 city blocks. There should have been some fallout from that.
Obviously,
people should have been injured from that explosion.
She didn't even throw it high enough.
That's what I'm saying. Some people should have been injured from that.
Oh man, Superman would have been able to handle this better. Literally say just say it in the scene.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. Our next big scene is Bruce and Aquaman. I hate this scene. I legitimately hate it.
It's so poorly done.
It's we're making the whole scene is us doing this. You ready? Here's my acting. I'm looking for a fish guy. You're looking for a fish guy? Yeah, fish guy. It's literally that for 10 minutes. And it's wait, tell me about those boxes. And then the dude, oh my God, in this movie with the stupid boxes, every other scene they're like, those boxes are important. But do we ever get a scene that's like, oh, we find out, we know what the like, or is it just okay? We don't want them to get the boxes for the whole movie.
I think there's a moment in time where once the team gets assembled, Diana's like, yeah, Steppenwolf invaded and he had the boxes, and there were the Amazons, and there were the Atlanteans, and the tribes of men, and he uses them to destroy the world and recreate the world as Apocalypse. It's like, first of all, that explanation comes way too late. That explanation comes, I think, after the scene where Batman and Wonder Woman are arguing.
Yeah.
And also, before this, I'm just like, why do I care about these boxes? Also, aren't mother boxes in the comic books just like teleportation devices or something? Or is that the boom tubes or something?
No, they're the boom tubes are a part of the mother boxes. The mother boxes are like living supercomputers.
Yeah.
Which makes sense for like Cyborg.
Right.
And I actually like they did that in the New 52. That was a new thing where they're like, oh, Cyborg is going to be like part mother box. But it's incredibly strange because like the boxes are the eggs in Ready Player One. It's they're just the thing. and it's like we're not saying anything about there being like 3 of them, and it's like the Amazons and the Atlanteans and the humans like are coming together. Like that's kind of in this movie, but the movie's not saying anything about it.
Right.
So, and that's the weird thing is that I feel like we kind of have these little Snyder things hanging in the air. Like asking us to pick them up, and the movie literally never picks them up. So we've got Alfred and or not. Oh yeah. So we've got Aquaman and Bruce. What I wrote in my notes was that I dislike that they just constantly make jokes at each other. The shots are weird and distant. It looks weird kind of the whole time, and it moves really fast. And they don't really say anything to each other. It's just kind of like, hey, I want you to come with me. No.
Yeah, it's also like why not, Aquaman? You just literally the fact, like, I get it. Like, you need people to be doubters. You can't have everyone just join the team immediately. I understand that, but the world is going to be destroyed. It's not just like Aquaman is like, oh, I want the oceans to rise. There will be no oceans, which Batman kind of says, and then Aquaman is like, I don't really care about that. That is an insufficient reason for him to doubt. He's got to figure like, oh, I can handle it on my own or something, which he doesn't think. He just thinks he can just ignore this. No, which just makes him seem like an idiot.
That's the problem, because it is not that he is rejecting Batman. So from a storytelling perspective, he can go and do something interesting while the main team is like dealing with this problem. And it's not what you're saying. It's not that he thinks he can handle it on his own. What we get from Aquaman is him being like, I'm not gonna help with this, and then it forces his hand, so he has to go undersea, and he's like, all right, I mean, I guess I am doing this now, right. and then he fails, and then he joins the team,
literally.
So like,
what was the point?
Why, like, you can cut that conversation with Bruce from this movie. Cut it. And he is in Atlantis and he tries to stop Steppenwolf from getting the box, fails, and then just have him show up the next time we're fighting Steppenwolf and say, hey, he's trying to get these boxes, and everybody else goes, we know. And then he's on the team. That's it. There's nothing achieved in this first meeting. It's very stupid. But what we do get achieved is we get Bruce Wayne growing a beard and shaving it.
We need a Bruce, time passes montage in every film. That's why we got the workout montage in BVS. Now we got the shaving thing.
Genuinely, is the shaving thing because of an editing thing, or like why?
It's probably, you know what it really is like they were like, we can't have him. Bearded Batman is too much for most of this movie, but we also want him to look like he's grizzled and he doesn't care about his appearance in a couple of scenes. So it's that, plus it's just like, oh yeah, editing. It's like, so what?
Weird. It's so strange for us to see him not bearded, see him bearded, and then like literally in the same scene. All right, everybody, I'm getting rid of it. I'm shaving it off. I'm like, oh god, this movie's so weird.
And also the fact that there are no dreams or real references to dreams in this movie, that's a disgrace. I mean, even if you didn't like the dreams in BVS, you still have to. This is a sequel. It's not a standalone. You have to find a way to justify the dreams. You have to find a way.
Every aesthetic and thematic theme from the prior movies was dropped in this movie. The fact that we don't get a follow-up on the Flash going back in time nightmare sequence in this movie is criminal. Literally, it's so stupid. I think I ignored how stupid it was in the past. I think maybe when I first saw Justice League, I was like, oh, it's gonna come even later.
Because we're gonna get Justice League 2.
Right. And now I realize, no, it was in this movie. They just took it out.
Right.
And so in theory, we should see it with the Snyder Cut, but
hopefully.
So the next scene after Aquaman's introduction here is Alfred and Bruce are having a conversation. He's shaving and Alfred jokes with Bruce about Bruce being interested in Wonder Woman.
Right.
And I hate it, Will.
Really?
I hate it. I hate that.
I'm not gonna lie. I do like Alfred a lot in this movie.
You have her number.
No, that is corny. That is corny.
No, no.
No, that's definitely corny. But I laughed.
Oh no.
Not a lot, but
I'm such a fucking sucker for this thing, dude. I'm literally like, give me the Snyder Cut where there's not a single joke in the whole movie. I don't want it. I don't want it.
Not even later on where Alfred's like, at least someone's going on a date in this household.
I can't.
Nah, I love that. I am a sucker for that.
I can't handle Alfred slowly turning into like a gay queen and being like, oh, Bruce. I'm just like, no, just be cool.
But, man, nah, Alfred is cool, man.
All right, now that I said it, I'm kind of like, maybe I do want that. Maybe I want them to lean into it even more. Honestly,
I would be here for it. Well, it depends. As long as you can give me that. You can give me that version of Alfred. He's seen a lot. He's old and wizened.
Yeah. Okay. Next scene is Barry Allen talking to his dad in prison. This scene is good.
Is Barry the best character in this film?
Yes. Yes. So the weird thing about this scene with Barry and his father is that the actual dialogue, like the lines, are not good.
Right.
And I think the actors are just good enough actors that they make it good. Because if you pay attention to the Flash's father, every single one of his lines is like a reference to running because they think they're being cute. And it's like, oh, Barry, you're going in circles.
You're standing still.
You're standing still
for a guy who's going nowhere.
You're running in place in Central City for a dude that's going nowhere.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm unhappy with that. But they actually sell it, and I think in particular the Flash, Ezra Miller, I think he does like a weirdly good job of being like a young person talking in the cadence of a young person.
Oh yeah, no, I think he's pretty skilled. I'm not gonna lie, because you're right that the lines are bad. Even the part where he's like, we have 3 or 4 fake jobs so you can get, a criminal justice degree. It's like, I'm pretty sure if he gets a criminal justice degree, he's gonna make some money eventually. So, I mean, he is an orphan essentially because you've been in jail and his mother's been dead. What do you expect him to do?
Man, well, you brought it up earlier, but you're 100% right. We totally should have gotten a scene of him like kind of being the Flash.
It's just like not in there. Like Batman shows up to his hideout and we just see the costume. It's like, all right, cool enough, I guess, because I know who the Flash is. But also like, and we'll get this in the Snyder Cut at least, maybe not in the costume, but in the trailers for the Snyder Cut, he's saving I think what is it Iris, yeah. So I just don't understand why we couldn't see. I mean, we see Aquaman saving people. We saw Wonder Woman saving people. Cyborg doesn't care about being a hero for most of this movie, so that's fine that we don't see him saving people. But, I mean, the Flash is ostensibly maybe the most heroic person out of everyone in this, because he doesn't even fight people. All he does is save folks.
You know something that really shocked me that wasn't in this movie? I was really surprised that they kind of set up this, the first time they go on like a mission, the Flash goes over to Batman and is like, listen, I don't know how to fight. I'm like not ready to do battle. I can't do this. And they have that kind of nice little speech where it's like, I save one person and I don't mind this.
Yeah.
I was surprised that they didn't kind of follow up on that with when they fight Superman for the first time. When they fight Superman, they bring him back. I was like, if I'm behind the camera of this movie, I'm definitely kind of doing a bit where I go, all right, this is it. This is time for the Flash to like take a swing.
Wow.
And he goes, and it just does not work. You know what I mean?
That would be great, honestly.
Yeah.
Although I do love, that might be the only like change I make to that scene, because I think that's a really cool scene where like the Flash is like, all right, I'm gonna run now.
Yeah.
And Superman's eyes, like Superman catches up to the Flash. I thought that was really cool.
Oh no, yeah, that's a highlight for sure when he turns and Ezra Miller's like goofy face. And I swear, I don't know if it's his face or they do like a little fisheye lens or something, but it looks so funny. It's actually well executed. Yeah, I appreciate that too. So the next like big thing that we get is we get our introduction to Cyborg, who I gotta tell you, every time. Ray Fisher, the actor that's Cyborg, has like a great voice.
He does. That's a fact.
Yeah,
that's a great point.
So I kind of like
he knows what he's doing with his voice.
Yeah, and I kind of like that scene. Ray Fisher, Cyborg, is I think out of all of the characters, he's probably the one that I feel like was cut out of the movie the most.
Well, of course, he had the most problems with Joss Whedon.
Apparently, yeah. It seems like there was stuff to say that the movie was like about with Cyborg, because he kind of like ends the movie having like completed an arc that the audience doesn't see. And and he talks about like these big ideas. I don't know. I think that there was like a lot of room to have Cyborg like do stuff in this movie, but he's kind
Correct me if I'm wrong. In the Snyder Cut trailer, are there scenes of him playing football?
Yes.
We need that. We need to see the accident.
We've seen in the Snyder Cut trailer him like pre-Cyborg transformation. Yeah.
I think we need to see that. I think that's necessary because, Aquaman, fine. He's been a fish guy his whole life. We don't really need his origin to make it work for Justice League. We've seen Wonder Woman before in BVS. Batman we've seen before. The Flash, I mean, like, his powers aren't really 100% related to like who he is as a person. Like his like main like thematic thing is like, I want to be a good person, I want to help people, and I want to save my dad because he was framed.
Right.
And the super speed plays into all that, but like, if his dad was framed for murder, he would still want to do all of those things. Cyborg is completely shifted by his origin story. Like, if he had never become like Machine Man, he's gonna be in the NFL. He's good.
Yeah.
Or maybe he'll become a doctor because he's just really smart. He's like, I don't want, CTE. So, but we need that for a Cyborg. And in a lot of ways, it could maybe mirror, if they did it, I don't know how they did it, but it could mirror like whatever happens with Superman. Because, Cyborg kind of went through like a near-death experience and it changed him. And as they said in the scene, and it's never really addressed that much, you lose something when you die. Superman died. He's sort of reborn, and Cyborg is sort of reborn. It could have been like a little dual movie in that respect.
Wow,
Will, in this film.
I'm glad you brought that up. You lose something when you die. That is not followed up on. And honestly, the movie is kind of like, no, just kidding.
Yeah,
because
much.
It's like, no, that's not true. That's
they were just like, man, he's in shock for like 15 minutes, and after that, he's good.
That goes into my category on my notes, which is stupid things that did or did not happen. Oh wait, in the flashback where we're explaining Steppenwolf and we show this huge battle with him years and years ago. That battle looks cool. I wish we had more just like in that era hanging out with Steppenwolf to kind of like justify him. I think that will be in the Snyder Cut. I imagine that scene's a lot longer.
I would say so.
But they show in that scene how like, I think it's in that scene how Steppenwolf can like turn, or the parademons can like turn people into more parademons. Do you remember this?
I do. And I thought it's strange that that's never brought up again either.
How is it possible that we get through the entire Amazonian and Atlantean fight scenes without seeing that happen to another person?
Yeah, that's a great point because
It's
that
so
adds
weird.
another layer of like, wow, this is getting crazy.
And I think it's and I got it. And I think it's I think it's about something because I think the way that Steppenwolf is defeated in this movie is really interesting because he's basically lost the battle the second that Superman shows up. And part of that is because Superman is like supposed to be OP, but I also think it's like a moral victory. I think it's like, oh, Superman is back, so hope is back, and hope defeats fear, and we've been told that fear is what the parademons are attracted to, whatever. Because it's not even that our heroes like kill Steppenwolf. It's that Steppenwolf thinks he's gonna lose. Steppenwolf is afraid, and that's what beats him. And that is like in the movie, this like a tiny little bit, but otherwise it's like the movie wants you to think that they just like beat him the way that you would beat any comic book villain, but that's not what actually happened. Right. And I don't know, there's again, it's one of these things where I feel like we have all these little parts hanging around in the air, and the final cut of this movie is like, no. What you see is what you get. Move on. Here's a funny joke. And yeah.
Nah, it's weird because like, is there ever any point in time where they explain why Steppenwolf wants to conquer the world?
No, there's like 2 lines of lip service about him. Like he's serving Darkseid. He's serving Darkseid.
But like we don't like who the hell is Darkseid? Like I mean I know because I read some of the comics, but like what is Darkseid's final thing? And he keeps talking about I can return from my exile. Exile from where? We never got to. Were you exiled from Earth? It doesn't seem like it. You seem like you're an alien. So like,
wait, where were you all these? Wait, that's truly so funny. Where were you this whole time? What were you doing? You just waiting for Superman to die? What about before Superman came to Earth?
That's what I was saying. Like there were like 1,000 years where there was no Kryptonia. You just
wait. Yeah, this is stupid. Wait,
I'm so confused. Oh my god.
Will, what do you think about our constant check-ins with the like the Russian family?
I see what they were going for. Because they need to set them up that way they could be saved later on. I feel like they didn't do enough with it. You know, it's weird to me that we start off with them when they're in danger. Like in all oh god. Oh no.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Keep it going. Keep it rolling. Don't worry about it. Keep going.
We had a slight technical difficulty, but we're gonna keep
rolling.
I think it's weird to me that the movie, like the first time we see them is when the parademons show up and they're under threat. I kind of want to see them maybe a little bit before. I mean, in all honesty, why didn't we see some Russian kids asking Superman those questions about podcasting? Should we care to? I want to care about Russian kids.
Yeah,
and people outside of America. You know, everyone's like, oh, Superman's so American, but like the thing is, he saves people all around the world, or at least that's what it's supposed to be. It could have been more inclusive there, and also, it is weird to me that because we don't get that, and like I don't care about them before they're under threat from the parademons. It's weird to me that we're only focused on them in the house once the parademons come. Like, I'm like, are they just like, are they the only people in this neighborhood? Or are there other people, and you don't really see them until the very end when they flee, and there's a bunch of other people. Like, I don't know, is this a city or is this some abandoned town? It's just so weird. What did you think about them?
I think it's a really like cheap way to be like, oh, here's the human element. Like, look, we're paying attention to people and people on the ground. This is not just like about gods fighting each other. And my biggest issue with it is that one, I think it's too transparently trying to do that, but more importantly, I think those scenes are boring to watch. They're all like, we do it a few times throughout the movie, and it's
you don't like the bug spray joke.
It's just so boring. I'm like, oh yeah, we're in the house.
I don't like that joke either, though, honestly.
And I'm like, anytime one of those scenes came up, I was just waiting for it to be over so that we could go back.
I feel that.
So
you know why that's really in there? I just realized it's because Joss Whedon did Age of Ultron, and people complained about him not caring about the human cost of Sokovia being destroyed.
Wow.
And he was like, you see, I care about the human cost. I care about this family. It's like, shut up, Joss. No one cares about
it. Was God, it was just so boring. I don't know that. So man. It's funny. I'm in the point of my notes now where it's the halfway point of the movie, and it's like I have my realization about why they would have Bruce date Lois. And, there's that kind of interesting line where we're asking Wonder Woman, like, why aren't you a savior? And then Bruce says something that's really interesting. And again, this was the scene where I went, oh, this movie was about something. Bruce says, each of us in our own way is held back. And I'm like,
go on though.
What way?
Yeah. Like how do you mean, Bruce?
and they're all just standing there going, yeah, he's so right. I don't know. So okay, the scene that follows that I think is also kind of good because because these are the scenes again where I'm like, oh, okay, this is something fun is happening here. There's something interesting, something's being put on the table for us to like think about. If Superman, he was more human than I was, or than I am. Yeah, he was more human than I am. It like the way that's I don't remember exactly how it is, but it's kind of like he's talking to Alfred, right? Yeah, and it's this kind of interesting thing where he's like, oh man, with all of the power in the world and all of this and all of that, he was this like good, normal guy. He had a job. He like lived with the people,
fell in love.
And to me, this was like, oh, this is fantastic because it's following up on Batman v Superman. And there's like a little moment of reflection. It's a little moment of like, oh, this is how my perspective on Superman has changed from seeing him as the alien.
I'm glad you brought this up. Yeah. Because, no, you're right. There are moments with Alfred where it's like they actually gave a crap about what he was saying. Yeah. Between the conversation between him and Batman, there are other moments where like, you know what? We're just gonna tease you here. Yeah. Because we just want... there are moments that are a little bit cheaper. And I think you were right when you said if they were going to go for those cheaper moments, they should have uncheapened them by leaning into it more. Actually make Alfred a character instead of just this guy with no sexuality and no wants or desires except what Bruce wants. I understand he's a butler and a father figure, but if you're going to do that, then actually go farther with what Alfred wants and what he's going to do.
I agree. Make a choice. Make a choice that makes me like think about him and not just think about what Bruce is saying.
Sure.
Yeah. So
I hadn't thought about that, so I'm glad you brought that up,
dude. When Wonder Woman says, "If Superman sees you when he first wakes up, you're gonna have a problem." Why? They have no beef. They have no beef.
I mean, they squashed the beef before he died. So I don't know. Only so that we could justify him having memory loss when he wakes up.
They're literally like, okay, all our audience remembers is that the last movie was called Batman v Superman. So they're angry at each other.
Yeah.
No one watched it, right? No. Okay. Good. I thought that was so weird. I was like, all right.
Do you bleed?
Oh, okay. Let's get into this because it's at this point in the movie that so Superman comes back to life and I stop taking notes because I'm sick of it. and I'm just so bored. I'm bored out of my mind. I keep like drifting from the movie. It's so really quick. Flash and Cyborg are digging up the grave, and they have this little conversation where they acknowledge to each other, "Oh, we're the accidents of the group." This is
despite us having never seen either of the accidents or knowing what they were.
and this is a good moment in a better movie, and a stupid moment in this movie.
Yeah,
this is I understand. I think that like the way having them talk to each other in this context actually is compelling, but it's when it's built off of nothing, it just falls flat and you forget about it the second it's gone.
True.
So yeah,
except for in the end where they're all standing and we get our one tableau of the film at the very end of the movie,
right?
And Flash goes for his fist bump again.
Yeah,
and Cyborg finally gives it to him. Now I'm not gonna lie, I did giggle.
I don't hate it
at that moment.
Yeah,
although. In the grave robbing scene when he was like racially charged, I was like, I mean, it's not that racially charged to go for a fist bump.
It was a different time back in 2017, you know. God,
it's a different era.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
When we're bringing Superman back, why does the camera make a point of showing us the picture of Jonathan Kent going into the fluid?
No clue.
I have no idea.
No idea.
It is such a prominent image. And it means nothing to me.
Not in this movie.
and I'm a scholar for this idiotic garbage. Okay, I am the most psycho fan out here, and I can't tell you why. I
think they were trying to go for something that's like, no, there's just no reason to do it. You have to have some. There's no lines about Pocket in this film.
No, none.
You have to have at least 2 lines about Pocket in this film for that picture to go into the water and mean something to me.
God, there's not a single line about Pocket in this movie. How dare they? Jeez.
Oh my goodness. You know what I just thought of? Instead of him just flying to his broken monument when he wakes up, you know what he should have done?
Oh, tell me.
He should have gone through. We should have gone into Superman's perspective, right? He flies out of the rebirth chamber.
Yeah.
Go into his perspective. All of his powers are waking out, but just the sensory ones. Not even heat vision, but like he's hearing anguish all around the world, right? He's X-ray vision, all this stuff, and he's distressed by it. And the thing that he's lost in this moment is he doesn't initially know what he should do to stop it. And he maybe flies to a couple of these instances and he's like, I don't know what I should do. I'm not saying he has to like kill people or whatnot. That doesn't make sense. But I think what I would do is maybe have him listening in on some pretty unfortunate, like maybe natural disasters, because there's always something going on in the world, and just have it break him. Have him get really fucked up by it, and then have him try to retreat. Have the heroes be like, bro, we need you to come back. And he's like, no, why have you brought me back to this madness? And that's why they fight.
Well, I wrote a very similar scene for my recut of this. Mine is almost exactly the same thing. He is hearing all this like crazy bad stuff happen in the world. And I want him flying around, fixing as many problems as he can and not stopping. I don't want him being Superman. I want him being like an invisible blur going around and fixing things. And the team like literally can't stop him. They need like Flash to intervene, and that's how that confrontation starts. And I want it to be commentary on him putting down Clark Kent and putting down Superman, and just being like a thing.
Okay.
And you know what I mean? And then the thing that can stop him can still be like Lois, you know?
Yeah. No, I like that.
It's just the reason that they have him like fight everybody right now is like, oh, he was dead and now he's not, so he's confused.
Yeah. I do. You know what would be cool? If they could figure out some way for him to be unhopeful when he's first revived.
Yes.
And have the team after having failed to be inspirational to the people, have them inspire Superman to get back into things.
Yes. No,
it's just not there. It's just like, okay, he was dead. Give him half an hour. He'll be back in the game.
Right.
He'll be better than ever. In fact, actually,
better than ever. Really, truly better than ever. So the actual fight against Superman, I find it to be good, except for any time anyone speaks.
How does Diana know this man is called Kal-El? They've never had a conversation.
I'm willing to chalk that up to like years passing, even though I think it's been like days.
It seems like it's been a month since he's been dead. Yeah, maybe 6 months max.
Right. I'm like, okay, fine. I'm allowed to. I will forgive that. What I will not forgive is the way that line is delivered. Kal-El, no. I'm like, no, dude, no. Like, just cut it out. Just like if Kal-El no appears in the Snyder Cut, like I'll eat my hat.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
If Lex Luthor was in this film and he's doing something evil and Superman catches him, do you think it makes more sense for him to be like, no, you have to die, than it would be for Batman? For him to go like, okay, Batman, you have to die.
That's actually hype as fuck.
That might be the most. I think I kind of need that moment.
Wow, that's.
I actually don't know if we're gonna get that in the Snyder Cut. I doubt it because I don't hear anything.
What's crazy though is that this is a 2-hour-long movie.
Yeah, the
Snyder Cut is over 4 hours long.
True.
So we're getting something.
Yeah, there's a lot more in that movie than there is in this. There literally has to be.
It's really okay. To be totally honest, I don't have that much more to say about this movie. I think the rest of it is just kind of like boring and goes through the paces of like stopping the villain. Nothing really surprising happens. The fight scene at the end with Steppenwolf is, I think, forgettable.
Super.
Yeah, I think the best parts of that fight scene are seeing like Superman kind of like Hulk out a little bit and be like like I am Superman. I can do this. Like Steppenwolf, you are not like a threat to me. I think that's fun to watch
for sure.
But I guess I'm just ready to put this movie down and to like think about the
glorious Snyder Cut.
I kind of. And so are you. So really quick though, are you with me in terms of like that this when you're watching it that this is like not a Snyder movie?
You know how I know it's not a Snyder movie?
Oh, tell me.
Because this man, Superman, hasn't been exposed to sunlight in at least 6 months, and there is no scene of him flying into space and reaching for the sun. And there should be, 1,000%. It just doesn't make sense that there isn't.
It doesn't make sense that there isn't.
And if there isn't in the Snyder Cut, I'm gonna email Zack Snyder somehow, some way, and be like, I know you have that scene.
Yeah,
put it into the re-release.
There's no way there's a single scene cut from the Snyder Cut. Snyder's going. He's leaning in. He's going full psycho.
As he should. But that, like, if there was ever a time to have a scene where he's reaching for sunlight, it would be after he's revived and we haven't seen him in the sun.
Well, let me ask you: will we like the Snyder Cut?
For sure.
For sure.
This movie, I'm willing to bet whoever listens to this podcast first can text me if you have my phone number, or you can get in the DMs, and you can bet me $10 that I will give the Snyder Cut a 7.8. I think it'll be a little bit higher than BVS. I'm willing to bet $10. I have a Venmo. I can send it to you anywhere in the U.S. I think it's international. They got Cash App too. I think we're gonna like this. I think the Snyder Cut is gonna come close to an 8.
Will I like the Snyder Cut more than Batman v Superman?
Will you?
Will I?
Yeah. Yes. I think you're gonna push me for an 8.5 from the Snyder Cut. So I think that's my prediction.
Okay, my current fear with the Snyder Cut is that I will love it and everyone will hate it. And it'll be right back to Batman v Superman. So I'm a little bit afraid of that. But I don't know. I feel like the discourse is changing. I feel like people might be ready. When Batman v Superman came out, people were not ready for it. And now that we're watching these things in our homes, this is a 4-hour epic.
Yeah.
What like?
And the thing is, it's like not everybody has HBO Max.
Right.
So, like, like a good amount of people do, but not everybody. It's not like it's on Netflix. So, like,
right.
The people who aren't like, who are gonna be like, oh, this movie is too long. It's like, all right, well, you're just not gonna watch it then.
Yeah, that's true. That's interesting. So, are you worried about the 4 hours at all? Is that daunting or is it exciting?
I think because we've had a year's worth of buildup. And from the beginning, first of all, the Snyder Cut was never supposed to exist. I remember the days when it was just a myth. People were talking about it. I was like, we're never going to get the Snyder Cut. I wish we would. It's impossible. Yeah. And then last year, they announced it at the beginning of the pandemic. And I was like, I don't know if this is real. Yeah. It was to the point where it was like, remember when they announced that we're getting a sequel trilogy to Star Wars? And for like a week, people were like, no, this is fake news. Disney didn't buy Star Wars. It was like that.
Yeah.
I think the hype is there. I think the trailers have been so glorious that people are like, actually, no, I'm ready for this. I'm prepared. And so I'm not that daunted at all. I just have to make sure I set my time aside to watch it. I think it's gonna be great.
Because this is it. This is the last time we're talking before the Snyder Cut. So I wanna for the history of it all. I wanna capture where we are in this moment.
Oh man.
And I think that like, I said it before when we were talking about BVS that I like live for these characters and for this world. So the fact that they're like, Jake, here's like 4 hours worth of nonsense for you to watch is like incredibly exciting for me. I'm so curious about the way that it's going to really feel to watch that kind of movie.
And the fact that there are chapters. Oh my
chapters, which I like.
Oh no, I love that. If you're gonna have like I'd always take explicit chapters as opposed to like, this is just section 1, but we're not gonna tell you. Just tell me. Screw it.
Do you think the movie will? Do you think when I go on HBO Max to watch the movie, I can press on which chapter I want to watch, or do you think it's just gonna like be in the? Do you think it'll just be like in the movie, like boom, 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 boom?
It wouldn't surprise me if you can't do that initially, but I would also not be surprised if people push for that and they eventually do it.
Okay. Man, the Snyder Cut. So, well, at everything that the Snyder Cut could possibly offer, we're talking 2 hours of footage that is not in this movie.
Right.
What is like the number one thing that you're like, this is what I want to see in the Snyder Cut?
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Gosh. I really think you have, and I think it will.
Mm-hmm.
I think it has to justify why Superman must come back. Because in the current movie, it almost kind of feels like we just need it for Steppenwolf. You know, if he dies versus Steppenwolf, it's fine.
Yes.
You know, whatever. He could die again. Hopefully not, because we like Supes. But like, if he dies again, like I need the movie. I need Justice League Snyder Cut version to be. We need Superman because he's a symbol who will inspire us to continue succeeding after this fight.
Okay.
And that's what I need. That's what I need the film to do for me.
I have a big ask.
Okay.
This is a tall order.
Okay.
I need this to be a different movie.
I think.
I realize that's a little dramatic. I realize I'm being a little dramatic right now. But I'm at this point with this. I really have a bad taste in my mouth from this Justice League movie.
As you should.
I am so upset about the way that we like left Batman v Superman out to die. I frankly hate Steppenwolf. I think Steppenwolf is stupid and meaningless. And I just like if they can successfully make Darkseid a presence in this movie that's like hanging over things, that goes a really long way for me. I agree. Yeah.
I mean, the weird thing about Steppenwolf is like, there's a difference between a villain who is like, my only concern is power.
Yeah.
Because you can do a lot of things with power, as opposed to Steppenwolf, who's like, my only concern is conquering.
Yes.
It's like, conquering for what? What are you gonna do with all of these parademons? You just gonna sit on your throne and just stare at your flamethrowers, or do you want power so you can control all these semi-sentient beings so that you can, help your pride or something?
Right.
I think Darkseid is more concerned with power, where Steppenwolf is clearly just like a henchman who's like, conquer. I must take over. But to what end? Like, that's not satisfying enough for me. So
I agree, and I think it needs to be tied to Superman in some way. I think there needs to be like an opposing force there. And you know, 100%. It's funny. It's funny. I remember saying when we reviewed Man of Steel that like my memory of Justice League was okay. Superman has died for us. He has proven himself. So now we trust him. So when Superman comes back, he is allowed to be truth and justice. He even has a line about it, just like saving people with a smile. And I like that idea with this movie, but rewatching it, kind of like watching it back, I feel like I kind of injected that in the movie more than it's actually there. And
I mean, they left a lot for you to just fill in, man.
Yeah.
When we say this movie is not about anything, it really struggles to find a theme.
So this movie's sitting at 40% on Rotten Tomatoes critic score, 71 audience. Okay, 71 audience, and that is
a little high.
And it's 75 audience for Man of Steel, 56 critics on that movie as well. So just to give a little comparison there.
Okay.
I talked a little bit about at the beginning of the pod, like what people were saying about this movie, about how it was over. And I do want to say that this is in comparison to the critics, we're sitting at a 28% for Batman v Superman. So
really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yes. People hate, yes. Nothing is more maligned than Batman v Superman.
You know what surprised me? It surprised me that people liked Man of Steel more than Justice League, because that is not the typical rhetoric that I hear. It seems to me like out of the three, people enjoyed Justice League the best.
I agree. I think that is the consensus as well. I think people wanted a movie like this, and it's the easiest movie to watch. You know what I mean? You can not pay attention, still get what's going on. Go, oh yep, these are superheroes fighting. Cool, got it. And I think there's a certain kind of person that appeals to. But this is the Viewer Digression podcast where we make the rules. So, well, what are we going to give Justice League?
God, I'm trying to remember if I made a prediction for what it was going to get last week. It's getting below a 7. I'd tell you that.
Oh, definitely.
I think it's getting below a 6.
We ragged on this movie, justifiably so. There are things in this movie that we still enjoy watching, But I think a lot of that is work that was done by other movies.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
It's a dangerous question because I had shout out to Beverly Austin, my buddy from Chicago. She was like, we got to have a discussion about Bridgerton at one point because you're so wrong. Although we had like an off-screen conversation and we don't actually disagree on that much. I just feel more strongly about other things. But is this movie better or worse than Bridgerton? This is a genuine question.
Yeah, this is tough. This is tough.
We gave Bridgerton a 4.
Yeah, so here's
what I stand by my 4 because there are some things that piss me off in Bridgerton.
Bridgerton still boils my blood to this day. So, like, here's where I come down on this. This movie has, those scenes where we check in with like that Russian family, where I literally feel exactly how I felt in Bridgerton, where I'm just like, come on,
bored out of your mind.
Come on, yeah, and that stinks. Now that being said, this is a 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
Bridgerton's
what, 6 hours? 7 hours?
At least. Yeah.
I think Bridgerton's 8 episodes, right? So I think it's like 8 hours.
Bridgerton had entire episodes where I felt that way. So
that's true.
Yeah, but at the same time, was there even Bridgerton at its most boring? Was Bridgerton at its most boring more interesting than the least interesting scenes in Justice League? Maybe.
Yeah, I would say so. Probably.
Yeah. So
Probably.
it is close. These pieces of media are in conversation with each other for sure.
Yeah, that's. I bet you never thought you'd hear that one, huh?
Yeah, Justice League and Bridgerton, they're having a dialogue right in front of our eyes.
The thing with Bridgerton is, there's 2 things that we discussed on that podcast that pissed me off, and that's why, like, it was boring, sure, but if those 2 things weren't in it, outside of the boringness, it would have probably got a higher score.
Right.
I don't know if there's anything in this movie that pisses me off as much as those 2 Bridgerton things did, but you still have a good point in that, like, it didn't make any attempts to say a damn thing about it.
It's not anything. Right. Justice League is not as offensive as Bridgerton in its badness, or as Bridgerton occasionally veered into offensively bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hear you. This is tough.
I think Justice League's got to get a 3.5.
3.5.
I think it's a little worse than. It's crazy because before I brought up Bridgerton, I was willing to give it a 5.5, but I think it's a little worse.
Let me really quickly get an outside opinion. Sarah,
yeah.
You've seen Justice League.
I have.
You've seen Bridgerton.
Yeah.
Which one is deserving of a higher score? Oh, she's torn. She also knows that these are in conversation with each other. Justice League is a higher score?
Yes.
Okay, Sarah says she's given Justice League a higher score, but I could tell that it was
It's tough, huh?
It weighed on her.
Bridgerton
Okay.
bothers me.
Yeah, okay. Sarah's argument is that Bridgerton bothers her. Whereas
that is also my argument. That I was like, so, God.
Yeah. Bridgerton's offensive. So, okay. Do we just give them the same score?
Both a 4?
Both a 4.
Okay, I might be willing to do that.
I can make my peace with that, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay, are we being okay, hold on. Now I'm walking it back. Are we being too hard on Justice League?
It's tough for me to give it above a 5.5. I'll tell you that much.
Definitely not a 5.5. But like,
is it a 5? Is it better than Winx? What did we give Winx?
Oh wait, that's a great question.
Oh God.
Well, what did we give Winx? Sarah, do you remember what we gave Winx?
Did you give it
A 6, Sarah says maybe, because we were gonna watch season 2.
True.
Yeah. Okay. Wait. This is bad. We can't be bringing in all these other scores. We just got to think about it. We got to think about it on its own. In your heart. Yeah.
As I'm pretty sure I said in a recent episode, if I would recommend you watch the film, it gets a 6 or above. If I wouldn't recommend you watch it, it gets a 5.5 or below.
Will we ever, after the Snyder Cut comes out, will we ever tell anyone to watch this movie?
Not seriously, no.
I'll
only tell them to be like, can you believe they released this bullshit?
Yeah.
As opposed to the Snyder Cut?
Now here's the question. Will a version of the Snyder Cut emerge that is cut down, but still more in line with Zack Snyder's original vision, and maybe that becomes the more
like the regular Justice League? No, probably. There probably will be like a 2.5 hour to 3 hour version of the Snyder Cut eventually released, where they cut some stuff out. I was like, all right, this is for your regular viewing experience.
Throw it into a theater, maybe.
I wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah,
special
see that
run. So actually, yeah, I'm probably never gonna tell people to watch this movie again.
No, I'm talking myself out of it again. I talked myself in, now I'm talking myself out. I'm like, is this movie
I think
dead
it's
to
a
us?
4.5 to a 5.
Yeah,
I think it's
I'm
a
right.
4.5 to a 5. I just don't know which one.
Yeah, me too. I'm torn on that too because that's a big difference, honestly.
Yeah, if I tell somebody it's a 4.5, it's kind of like never open this again.
Yeah,
But I guess it depends on. Weirdly enough, it depends on whether I think the jokes work well enough.
Mm.
And despite the fact that I said that I was laughing at these jokes, because the movie, if you're not laughing at the jokes, it's not.
Well, how do
why
you
are
feel?
Watching this shit?
How do you feel when Superman says, "Do you bleed?"
I feel like
what does that manifest in your body?
it doesn't work nearly as well as it did when Batman said it.
Okay, how does it feel when Batman's on the ground and he's like, "Oh, definitely bleeding"?
I felt nothing.
Okay,
So.
4.5. 4.5.
I forgot he said that.
4.5.
4.5. Wow. I didn't even make that. No, that's actually a terrible sequence because I did not make the connection. Honestly, when he said that, I was like, why is he saying definitely bleeding?
Oh.
Wow.
Disrespect. Ultimate disrespect.
4.5.
Okay.
Yeah,
Justice
it's
League.
a 4.5.
2017's Justice League. That's a 4.5. Let's not forget, ladies and gentlemen, that Man of Steel, that's a 9.
That's a
Batman
9.
v Superman, that's a 7.77. Okay, we fought for that 0.07. And we're giving Justice League a 4.5 out of 10. This is exciting. We're done. We're one show away here. This is it.
This is our 10th episode.
Oh yeah, that's exciting.
I wonder what our average rating is. We should figure that out before this.
Oh, that'd be fun. Yeah, well, yeah, that's because the Snyder Cut rating, that's going to be quite a
it's going to be a telltale sign.
Well, is there any way that the Snyder Cut is like a masterpiece? Is it impossible?
No. It's well within the realm of possibility that
it's that 4 hours is like, can you have a 4-hour masterpiece?
Definitely. I mean, how long is the Return of the King Master Cut? It's like 3.5 hours, and I'd probably give that movie like a 9.9,
nice,
or a 10. So it's 100% possible.
Okay.
It could be done. It could be done.
I'm excited. Where's your hype level for the Snyder Cut?
I'm pretty excited because the trailers have been great. The song choices for the trailers have been great. They have the Joker in this now.
Yes.
I think I'm pretty excited for it. Like I'm not. Not gonna lie. When I had to watch the Winx, I was like, I don't think this is gonna be good. I think I regret us choosing this, and then it wasn't good. But this, I'm excited to watch it.
Okay, good. Obviously, my hype level is through the roof. My hype hasn't been this activated in a long time because Justice League came out and they said, "Hey, this is the direction we're going in," and I said, "Rest in peace, my hopes and dreams." But now they're back from the dead, rising like Superman. I can't wait for next week. I can't wait to talk all things Snyder Cut. 4 hours. We're gonna probably be trying to watch it probably day one.
Yeah.
Record as soon as we can. Throw this pod up there. I might convince Will to we'll record it live. So if you want to tune in live, maybe get in the chat.
That would be wild.
That would be cool.
That would be fun though.
Okay. So stay tuned. Stay tuned on our social media channels for that. But otherwise, Will, anything else you want to say to the friends and fans before we log off here?
Justice for Alfred. Give my man some character development. And sending hugs to all my lightning bugs.
We will see you next time for the Snyder Cut.
I hate it.